you don't actually feel better about who you are or your circumstance, or if your friends actually like you, or if your life is actually good by buying something. That doesn't resolve it. It resolves a temporary worry or anxiety or feeling. Hi friends, I'm Shauna. Welcome to the channel and welcome to a new video. Today's video is one that is a couple of months in the making. This is actually a topic that has been requested a handful of times over the past maybe 3 or 4 months, and that is shopping and FOMO. Today, we're really going to be exploring how FOMO impacts the way that we shop, our wallets, our finances, and even a little bit about the psychology behind it. FOMO can really affect how we perceive ourselves as well, and we'll have a little bit of a chat about that too. So we're going to first give it a little bit of a definition of FOMO and what some folks are saying about it. We'll also talk about its relationship to trends and then its impact on our wallet, specifically through impulse buying. And then, as I've mentioned, we'll talk about how it affects our self-perception kind of throughout the video. Let's start off with the definition. I feel like we need that in order to have a meaningful conversation about it. And a 2016 HuffPost article defines FOMO as an anxiety or apprehension around the idea that others might be experiencing something that you are not. Another article, this time by the Product Market Alliance, they write that the fear of missing out isn't necessarily about missing out on getting a good deal. It's about finding a product before they become unavailable. Some studies have shown that consumers who experience FOMO spend more on average than those who don't. This may be because their fear of missing out pushes them to spend money they don't have. This can be in the form of impulse buying, bulk buying, or even just paying more than the average price to have the same experience. Very Well Mind writes, FOMO refers to the feeling or perception that others are having more fun, living better lives, or experiencing better things than you are. It involves a deep sense of envy and it can affect self-esteem. Now, FOMO, at least when I first heard about it, and even just the definition itself, fear of missing out, doesn't inherently apply to things or goods or stuff. And when I first heard it, was applying mostly to experiences with other people. Like your friends are going out without you, or they're having more fun than you are, or they're having more fun without you. You know, you want to say yes to an event, but like you don't want to go, but you are going because, you know, FOMO. It was very quickly applied to stuff and shopping. And the term, you know, FOMO might be newer, but some of the tactics that have been used in marketing aren't necessarily new themselves. I included the Very Well Mind definition in here because of its inclusion of jealousy, envy, as well as its effect on our self-esteem and mental health. I think the other two definitions and many of the other ones out there don't get to that specific level of things and kind of talk about it more generally. But when we break it down, when we talk about the fear of, that's a worry or an anxiety and the result of, you know, comparing your lives to other people or seeing things other people have that you don't, can, you know, result in jealousy or envy. And then those things can in turn have a negative effect on our mental health. And all of these things happen, which I want to make clear at the top of the video, is because we are looking outward. We can experience negative self-esteem or self-perception or those jealousy and envy feelings because we are looking at all the things that other people have, whether that's experiences or stuff. And then we're also thinking about all the things that we don't have, all the stuff that we don't have and all the experiences that we don't have. I've talked about this kind of concept in relationship to contentment, where you can't see the forest for the trees if you're not even looking for the trees. You know, like you can't enjoy or be grateful for the stuff that you do have if you're not even looking at your own stuff. If you're always focused on other people, what they have, or newest, nicest, next things, then you can't be grateful or happy about what you do have and what experiences you are having. And this line of thinking might have started off with just like seeing a friend's outfit on Instagram or seeing a social media person, you know, maybe a YouTuber or an Instagrammer, even a friend, seeing stuff about their lives. Maybe they went shopping, or maybe they're posting about their breakfast. Or maybe it's just something that really seems innocuous, like a genuine friend having a coffee. But this can lead us down the path of compare and despair. Their life is so much better than ours. Or look at all the things that they have. Like, look at how much would my life be different if I had the same time and money that they did. Well, we're primarily going to look at FOMO in relationship to stuff. There's definitely more aspects to consider. Now let's talk more explicitly about FOMO and trends. The central problem of FOMO in relationship to trends can be summed up by this Reddit comment. I've gotten really interested in skincare and makeup, and there are so many brands who are putting out so many new products all the time that I feel so rushed into getting things so I don't miss out. New things come to the market all the time. No matter what your interests are, new things are just coming up. I actually have really been paying attention to your comments, and I've noticed the last maybe 3 months, there's a lot of people here who are not here for the makeup content, which I've been making less of as of late as well. And for my makeup loving friends out there, you know this all too well. For, my fashion fans out there, you know this all too well. I feel like every niche, every interest knows this all too well. FOMO can happen in just about every class of product, from like hair, even something like a hairstyle, or even something like colors of makeup or clothes. It doesn't necessarily have to be a thing like home decor or fashion. It could be something a little bit more macro. No one is completely immune to trends either, even if we go into a purchase with it or with the intention of it being timeless. Nothing does last forever, and nothing is completely timeless. That is a good intention to have, but nothing, maybe not nothing, most things out there won't stand the test of time. A white shirt, as an example, something that is pegged as a classic item, classic style, classic silhouette that has been in fashion for 60 plus years for men and women. This item has also been kind of imbued with trends. It has been, or trends have kind of made their way into this item as well, from oversized collars or pockets to boxier silhouettes or tighter silhouettes. In the mid 2000s, a really like hourglass shape, kind of like really chiseled type of look was really popular in like the white button-up shirt. And then in the last maybe 5 years, this kind of more oversized, relaxed fit was really popular. I did make an entire video last year about how I don't want timeless style, and basically how style isn't timeless. If you're interested in that, I'll have that linked. Now, while that is true, all of this timeless style stuff is true, I'm mostly talking about like pure trend-driven items. I mean, who remembers the boom of Clinique Black Honey? Was it in like 2021 or last year, in the last year or two, or even bathrobe girls, cold girl makeup as an example? I mean, cold girl makeup was popular this winter, or I don't even want to say it was popular this winter. I remember like 3 or 4 years ago watching Emily Noel talk about in from the cold makeup. And I have talked about it on the channel too, but like, I digress. The in from the cold makeup. I wanted to make a video about this in early January, but didn't because I just ran out of time. It already feels like it's gone. You could have participated in that trend without buying anything, but there were also specific products people were using to get the trend. The 90s blowout is on the rise right now, and I had a moment this past weekend of watching somebody do a 90s blowout, it being amazing. My brain went, oh my God, I want that for myself. What are they using? I realized, oh yeah, I don't have anything that they mentioned in this video except for like a heat tool. I didn't have any curlers. I didn't have any of the sprays that they were talking about, but the curlers were the central thing that you needed, and I didn't have that. I started feeling jealous that this person had this amazing hair that I couldn't get and I wanted. And I was just like, man, I'm missing out on all of this beauty, bouncy, beautiful curl action. Like I could be having that. That could be me, but I can't because I don't have curling iron, I don't have curlers. I immediately went to go check out curlers. Like it was impulse, and I caught myself and I was like, wait, hold on a second. You don't even know if you want this. Like right now your brain is just on fire with this. Like, how about you chill? I was able to get a grip and I was able to chill. And sure, like maybe a curling iron, I keep calling it curling iron. Maybe curlers will be something that I would want to invest in and are kind of timeless. Like people have been using curlers for 50, 60 years, longer. I should say like rollers, not curlers, rollers. Now, before my no-buy year, this happened to me all the time where I would see something, I would want it, oftentimes driven by FOMO. And then because of the FOMO, I would make the purchase. It's part of the reason why I spent so much money in my no-buy or before my no-buy year. And when our eyes are just on trends, this is when FOMO can, I think, affect us the most. You know, we're afraid the product might sell out, so we would buy it. I also actually, when I was looking into some companies over the weekend, one of the things I saw was like, don't be afraid of TikTok sellouts, because the popularity of something on TikTok can sell out a product. And then you can't get your hands on it. And then if it does get restocked, people like will panic buy it. We can also potentially feel uncool or untrendy if we're trying to keep up with the trends. And there can also just be this pull to try cool new releases, just like hot stuff on the market. I'm certainly not immune because I have purchased stuff that has been everywhere. And I'm not talking about like, oh, is this product worth the hype or not? But something being popular can really affect our FOMO. I've purchased things like Modern Renaissance back in the day. I cannot tell you how long and hard I went looking for it. It being out of stock really drove my insanity for the product. Tower 28 blushes and lip glosses as well. Even some clothing items. The Everlane Alpaca Crew was everywhere 3 years ago. If you were in the kind of like minimalist or sustainable fashion loop, I feel like you couldn't go anywhere without seeing that sweater. And let me know if whatever niches you're in, even if you're in the beauty niche, what were the things like you, I feel like you couldn't turn a corner without seeing it. This can also lead us to buying dupes. The original might be so expensive that we don't want to shell out the money for it, so we buy the dupe, but then either the dupe doesn't work, it's not good enough, or you buy multiple dupes, or you're still curious about the original product that you buy it anyways. In the beginning of 2021, I did buy a dupe of the Everlane Alpaca Crew. I decluttered it 3 months later because it wasn't the Everlane Alpaca Crew. Like, not even close. It kind of looked like it from afar, but it wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't what I was looking for. And I did save up and eventually buy it, and I love that sweater. I mean, the dupe wasn't worth it. So many of you have mentioned this exact thing where you would have just saved money had you bought the exact thing that you were looking for. Like if you, especially when it comes to more expensive products, if you just saved up the money and bought the thing. And FOMO can really drive the dupe market, or for us looking for dupes in particular. We want the thing, we don't want to miss out, but we either can't afford it or don't want to buy the expensive thing. Some things can truly be out of our price range, and I get it. There have been some things I've looked at that have just been like hard pills to swallow because I wanted it so bad, but I just can't afford it. Some other things, if we were to save up, depending on the item, we would find value in that thing. You know, for me, it would probably be a really good piece of quality jewelry, probably like an everyday bag or jacket. Great. Also probably maybe like an electronic, like a computer or a camera. I wouldn't necessarily buy new in like the electronic route, but if you wanted a high quality electronic, even used, would be like more expensive than just kind of like buying the cheap thing. Even furniture. I mean, saving up to get a couch or a desk, dining set that you want could really be worth the money for some folks. I know I do talk a lot about affordability on this channel, and there are so many avenues where that applies, but it's not a blanket statement where we just, or me personally, just buy the most affordable option every time. I'm mentioning this stuff because FOMO can derail our plans and prevent us from saving up for what we actually want. And we could waste money buying dupes or just buying low quality stuff. I also think we should be cognizant of our inner dialogue if we're somebody who's saying or trying to tell ourselves, I don't get sucked into trends, or I don't experience FOMO, or I don't let FOMO affect how I shop. I'm not saying that you are a liar or that you're lying to yourself. I'm saying be cognizant, because product specific trends can be more obvious. There are other less obvious ways that FOMO can affect us. FOMO can sometimes suck us in through lifestyle or even symbolism. This doesn't necessarily have to be FOMO of somebody's matcha latte, but it could be FOMO of somebody's morning routine. When it does come to FOMO, trends are a big driver, and just being aware of the relationship between FOMO and trends can go a really long way. I'm not telling anybody to be pro or anti-trend in itself. What I am saying is that when we are so focused on trend in either direction, you're letting a trend dictate or play a really big role in your personal tastes and shopping habits. If you're pro-trend, you're looking for trends to be the arbiter of style or dictate your style preferences, and you want it before other people do. If you're anti-trend, you're closed off to trying new things just because it's a trend. And either way, both sides are really putting trends at the center of their choices and their decision-making process. We're focusing on trends instead of ourselves and considering what we really enjoy first. A trend can match up with your personal style and taste, whether it's makeup, fashion, home decor, or anything else. And if it happens, there's nothing wrong with that. If you focus on what you like more than anything, you won't let a trend, positive or negative, sway your personal style or aesthetic. You won't let trends be the single most important factor when deciding on making a purchase. There are also common marketing tactics that really do play on FOMO. Chief among them is creating urgency through things like countdowns or clocks, running low kind of stock notifications. A couple weeks ago, I was looking into buying a course or just seeing this course that somebody had. And my offline experiences, I guess more so like off YouTube experiences, I've learned a lot about course creation, just not for my personal self, but in working for other people. And I knew this course, like what kind of platform and style of course she was using, like right away. And when I saw her clock countdown timer, I knew it was artificial. Sometimes people will put a clock countdown timer that is real, like the sale will finish in 5 hours or 12 hours. But this one just resets anytime, like for each individual like email or click, didn't actually end in 12 hours. And I felt pressure to buy it. And I was like, wait, this is artificial. Just click out. The moment you feel pressure to buy anything, in my opinion, is just a bad environment to buy something. If you get a coupon code, a discount code, or there is a limited time incentive, you should want to buy that thing or be looking for that thing, not feel like peer pressured into buying something, Full disclosure though, I do sell on Etsy and I do have out of stock notifications as well as like low stock and in stock notifications, as well as sales. I run sales, and when they are over, they are over. That's just the truth. And a lot of the stock notifications are just because I'm one person and can't fulfill 100 orders a day. And sometimes people are waiting for a sale in order to pull the trigger. All of this leads me to impulse buying, which is one of the biggest downsides of FOMO. An article in the Journal of Cultural Marketing Strategy titled, "Is Fear of Missing Out FOMO a Cultural Construct? Investigating FOMO from a Marketing Perspective." They reference right off the bat that FOMO is associated with impulse shopping. There's actually a lot of evidence out there that shows the relationship between FOMO, social media use, and impulse or compulsive spending. Existing literature suggests that FOMO is influenced by social media consumption, the level of collectivism versus individualism, and a sense of belonging. Studies have shown that the FOMO effect is more prevalent among people with a lack of fulfillment of basic psychological needs. Individuals who experience this feeling more intensely constantly compare their lives with those of others, thinking other people have better life standards than theirs. I think as a collective, we are more well-versed in the relationship of FOMO to trends and like FOMO to pressure. And especially as well, this desire or need to belong or distance oneself from a social group. How many of you felt pressured to enjoy a pumpkin spice beverage this fall, or you didn't want to buy one because you didn't want to be basic? FOMO actually tends to be associated with younger folks, people who are in their teens to early 20s, and it tends to, the older you get, the less FOMO you experience. These are the kind of like averaging statistics. Getting back to the lifestyle FOMO though, this is the kind of FOMO that reads less like FOMO, especially when it comes to the compare and despair side of things. This can be a side effect of FOMO if we are trying to purchase our way into a better circumstance or a better lifestyle. Maybe it doesn't quite feel like fear, but it can be anxiety about not having a life or success or lifestyle like somebody else. You know, you want that for yourself. You know, you don't want to miss out on the benefits of a morning routine, an oat milk latte, or super greens. I swear to God, if you were on Instagram over the weekend, it popped off. More on that another time. You know, you could also feel that way about something like somebody developing a running habit or a fitness habit or a meal prep habit. You know, you want those successes. You want that experience for yourself. You know, what would your life be like if you could have that now? Or like, what are you missing out on because you're not healthy or you don't have that lifestyle? This feels very different from my athletic greens are about to sell out, gotta buy it now. You know what I'm saying? One of the things about FOMO when it comes to shopping is the fact that it can rob us of our time and money and from buying things that actually matter. FOMO keeps our attention on the new instead of ourselves and our lives or other things that matter to us. It can keep us broke, but also unhappy. And I think this specifically applies to the can't see the forest for the trees, like I was talking about at the top of the video. You know, we can't appreciate our lives and ourselves if we're always having anxiety or fear about missing out on other things or comparing and despairing, looking to other people, looking for the newest, nicest thing. It can also be difficult to understand what we actually want and what will provide us value if we're constantly looking to always buying new things or letting FOMO drive our purchasing choices. It took me over a year to learn about my makeup preferences because before my no-buy, I was letting what was popular, what was being talked about, drive my choices. I would see something that I wanted. I would let this buildup happen in my head. Then I would buy it. That's how a lot of things would happen or how they would go down. That is not me making a conscious and intentional choice. Therefore, a lot of what I owned wasn't I enjoy pink blush, therefore I'm going to buy a pink blush. Or I enjoy ruffled sweaters, I'm going to go out and buy a ruffled sweater. In a lot of aspects of my life, I didn't know what I liked or what I wanted because of how I was making those choices. And that can actually affect your identity. And I want to expand on this point, but I'm just going to use myself as an example because I don't want to make any implications about anybody else. Around the time of my no-buy, like in 2020 to 2021, I realized that my identity wasn't really my own because I was buying stuff that was based off of what was new. I was just talking about that. If FOMO drives your clothing choices, then it also drives your style. And your style is a part of your identity, and it is a way that you express yourself and you show your personality. If FOMO drives your choices, it's almost like passive identity creation. Like you're not really taking responsibility in cultivating your personal style. Yeah, there's no intentionality there. You're not saying, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, or I want to communicate this, or I want to feel this way. I realized over the course of 2022 that one of the reasons why I felt so lost and why I felt like I didn't know who I was coming from this passive creation. And I was beginning to feel more at home in myself the more that I was intentional about my style, even when I didn't get it right. Now, clothing isn't the only aspect that affects our identity, but what I think can be true is if you are like this across multiple areas of your life, then it could really affect our self-expression and how we see ourselves. And we could be lacking intentionality in many significant ways. I didn't feel like I knew what I liked, what I didn't like, kind of as a global experience. And my style was a part of that. And it was really empowering to put in that work to start figuring out, what do I like? What makes me feel like my most me? I talked about this last summer. It was empowering as hell, y'all. I really started to express myself more consciously and began constructing an image and a style that was intentional. And I know what I like now, what I don't like. And while that evolves and changes, I think some of the ways that we might feel like we don't know who we are is when this happens. FOMO can also keep us broke and buying low quality products. I was talking about dupes earlier, and if we're spending all of our money on just stuff, then we're not spending it on experiences or memories or stuff, or if we're just talking about stuff, like stuff that matters. FOMO can get us so caught up in the here and now, and the feelings of anxiety or jealousy, the need it now can be so strong and so visceral that we feel compelled to act. Hence, the impulse spending. That kind of behavior can prevent us from saving up to travel or buy a house, maybe have a child, adopt an animal, move out, get married, or maybe even afford something that would be a bigger purchase, like a couch or a TV, a laptop, or, something else of that nature. Renovations too, they cost money. Retirement, big family trip. How we respond to FOMO can be a habit, both positive or negative. We fear missing out. It creates a response. It could be you buy that thing, you get the dopamine hit. A few weeks ago, I made a video on habits, and I said that what you crave is not the habit itself, but the change in state it delivers. When we buy out of FOMO, we're buying to relieve emotions. It resolves our feeling or our emotional state. It provides a solution. If you feel like life isn't good enough, or you're having anxiety about FOMO, like people, even if it's not about stuff, even if it's just about your friends are having a better time and you're not there, there's that anxiety, there's that worry, there's that, oh my gosh. And then the action, buy the thing or go join your friends, is the resolution of the emotion. It is a mental ease. And buying something is a superficial resolution because it's temporary. You don't actually feel better about who you are or your circumstance, or if your friends actually like you, or if your life is actually good by buying something. That doesn't resolve it. It resolves a temporary worry or anxiety or feeling. You don't feel better about who you are or any of the factors that played into your choice overall. This is a huge contributor to impulse spending, this emotional resolution. And we feel that ease and we feel that, and so that drives the habit and drives the choice next time because we know that it will resolve the feeling even on a subconscious level. So if that's the case, if that's one of the things that drives how we spending some time and attention on those feelings is going to, or will more likely have a greater result on how you deal with FOMO and how you feel about yourself and your life. That would be a better use of your time and money, in my opinion. I have a whole video on habits if you're interested in watching. I'll leave that up to you. I'd really like to hear your thoughts about FOMO. You know, what kinds of additions would you make here? How has FOMO affected your life? Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I would love if you would subscribe to catch more content like this. Listen, y'all, there's going to be a deep dive coming up that has been like a passion project of mine. We're going to get heated over here. If you like sassy, fiery Shauna, come on back. Hopefully I would really love it for it to come out next week, but hopefully in the next 2 weeks. If you would like to see a deep dive into an aspect of the lifestyle industry, subscribe. It's about to get juicy up in here. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you again around here soon. Bye.